This video is going to cover how to add emails to your campaigns in your MailChimp account, and also some other tips and tricks that I'm going to show you because I know you're starting from scratch from here. So first and foremost, Diana, when I went to log in, you had yet to actually kind of calibrate the account. So I've done that for you, so you don't have to worry about that. And you will see that the tutorial will start to take place immediately once you go to MailChimp to log in. You'll see this screen, so go ahead and click login. You may be prompted to add a text message, which it's doing here. I'm not doing that right now. If that's something that you want to take advantage of, you can. That's easy as going and hit verify identify via SMS. So it's going to send you a text to a number you choose. You're going to get a number and then you put that in. I'm not going to do this right now, but if you want to go ahead and do that, it's very simple. I'm going to go ahead and click I'll do this later. So if you see this screen, you can also do that as well and or take advantage of this. I'm going to go ahead and say I'll do this later. You will then see this screen. Now we're going to kind of jump around a little bit, but this is exactly what you should see if you followed my steps. And I don't think that you have a file of contacts. If you do, I'm going to show you that process in the event that you did. But if you don't have a file of your contacts, I'm also going to show you how you manually add people to your list. So first and foremost, what you'll need to do is if you do have a list, now if this is already something that doesn't make sense to you, then that means you don't have a list of emails. So an email list only comes from if you've downloaded a list from Gmail or a website. And once again, if any of this is not making sense, then you don't have a file. So disregard this. But in the event that you did, and this is something that we could also get down the road maybe, but if you did, you'll hit import from a file. I know for a fact you don't have this yet, so don't disregard this in its entirety. I don't think you have that. But what you would do is import from a file. You'll click this button, and then it's now going to ask you, where is this list? If it's a CSV, which once again, I'm not sure if you have, but if you do, then you would click that, and or a TXT file. This may sound a lot of Japanese and craziness, but bear with me. Also, copy and paste from file and or integrate services. So if you don't have any of this or none of this makes sense to you, then you don't have it, so disregard that. So leave this be. If you do have it though, then you go ahead and click on the appropriate one, hit next, and then it's going to walk you through that process of uploading the file wherever that file may be. Now, it's imperative that if you do have a file, you want to be working on a computer that has access to that file because you'll need to upload it. So once that's done, it's automatically going to load your contacts, and then it will go into sending an email, which we're going to cover later in this video. So that's importing contacts by using a file. If you don't have a file, then we're going to go back to this screen. And once again, let me go ahead and get you to where we were. So here's the screen that you would see in the event you didn't have contacts. I want you to go ahead and go to audience, okay? And you'll see that this screen will pull up this area. Now, you once again will be prompted, do you want to import your contacts? If you want to do that, it's really neat, and you can go ahead and by importing your contacts, it will ask you once again that process. If you don't have that list, now I'm going to show you how to add them manually. This is a little bit more time consuming, but it's something that can be done easily. So you'll hit add contacts and you're going to hit add subscriber. This will then bring you to a screen that asks for the email address of the person, the first name, last name. This is not imperative to have. You don't have to put their address. You don't have to put their phone number. You don't have to put their birth date. And you also don't need to add a tag. But if you want to, it would be important to add a tag, which means, in other words, something and what are they on here for? So maybe if it's a customer, if it's a past customer, these tags can be useful for you so that you know, oh yeah, that person I used to work with, or they're a potential customer. So tags is something you could take advantage of. I personally don't use it, but you can use this. Now, it's absolutely imperative that you click this person gave me permission to email them. If you don't click this, it will not go onto your email subscriber list. So it's imperative you hit this. And if they have been on your email list before, but you're changing their email or they're a new, then you would click this. I never really click this. It's not necessary, but you just make sure you click this one. This one has to be done. Once you hit subscribe, that person will be added to your email list, and it's really neat. So I'm just going to do one here with you now just to show you how this works. In the event it was me, that's me, bum. And once again, we don't need this. We don't need any of this. I'm just for the sake, we don't need this there. But once again, show you how this works. Everything's there, and you're going to go ahead and hit subscribe. Now, I've automatically, oh, hold on a second. Please enter a complete, oh, maybe it does want this, so hold on a second. You're not always going to get the address, by the way. So if you don't have anyone's address, put something in. So like, for instance, I think MailChimp is actually stepping their game up and requiring it. You're not going to have everyone's email address. I can guarantee you that. So if they're in Palm Coast, put Palm Coast, Flagler Beach, etc. So in this case, you'll notice, here we go. I'm going to once again set this, subscribe. Now, you'll notice, mission accomplished, that I've been added to your list. Now, what's really neat is you'll notice, and this drop down here, it says Manage Contacts. You can hit View Contacts, and you'll see here that you are automatically added because you're the owner of the control, you control it. And you'll see here that I'm also now added. So this is really neat. So what's the goal is you'll add these contacts. And once again, if you have a list, great. If not, you add them manually. Now, I'm going to move into how to send an email to those people. I'm going to cover some ground. If you already know how to do it, I'm just going to put it in the video because it's just useful and may be helpful to reiterate. So at this point, make pretend you have all of your emails in here that you want, the people that you want, the contacts. Now you're going to go ahead and hit Campaign. Campaign's going to allow me now to say, okay, well, what do I want to do? Well, what I want is I want to create a campaign, which means that I'm going to send an email to all those people. So I'm going to hit Create Campaign, which is right over here. And now this is really important. I'm not going to go into every single one of these, but it's important now if it's going to be an email, an ad, a landing page, a postcard, or a sign-up form. Most likely, Diana, you're going to be doing email, so I'm just going to use email as the purpose of the tutorial, but there are a ton of other options, and as you get more versed and or need more help, let me know, and I can make additional videos on how, but most likely you're going to be doing just email. So you'll click email. Once you click that, you'll then have a campaign name. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to put a test, so you'll know forever that this was a test, and I'm going to hit begin. This is the same thing that you will do. So if you're doing a real one, you'll put in the name of the campaign, and a great name would be if you're doing a campaign that's a weekly one and or a specific promo. So for instance, if you do one for April, it could be like April campaign or, you know, April promo, whatever it is, so that you know you can use it again and you know what promo it was for. But in this case, we're going to hit test. And actually, I'm going to put Chenzo test so you know that was me because it's going to get saved in the system. We'll hit begin. And after you hit begin, you will now see all these options that you have. First and foremost, from head to toe, it's going to say, who do you want to send this campaign to? Well, this is a really neat, simple tool. You hit add recipients. Now you're going to choose the list. Now the list that we started to build is under Two Worlds Language Services. You can also build other lists where you could have, once again, potential customers, current customers, family members. You can have many, many, many lists, and you add the people to those lists as need be, following the steps I covered in the beginning of the video. But most importantly, now that those subscribers are on that list, you go ahead and click the list that you want. So in this case, it's you and I added to that list. I'm going to click here. And it's going to say, there's always going to be these tips and tricks, and it can look scary and this and that. Just read them. Don't freak out. Just follow the rhythm. And also, most importantly, this tutorial, and it will help you out big time. But you'll see here, you could also put that, once again, pertaining to the tags that we had covered, you can add in the tags that you wanted, etc. But I don't think you're going to need to want to do that. But if you do, these are all options available to you. But for the most safe process, you're going to click the list, leave this as all subscribers on the list, and then it does say personalize to field. I don't do this because if you do that, it's got to pull the name from the email list, and sometimes you don't always have people's names or address, and it could get funky. So I suggest through my tutorial, do not click this, okay? Once that's done, hit save. So you'll notice the first part is done. The from is already automatically going to pull from who you are. That's already calibrated. That's done for you. This is where the fun stuff starts. Subject line. What you're going to want to do is this is what people will see when they get the email, and this is where you put in what the subject is and some preview text. And you can actually, I'll show you what this means. So the subject is obviously the subject of the email. So howdy. And what's really neat, I have fun. I do a lot of MailChimp campaigns for my clientele. You can then hit a smile. You can hit this icon, and you can even add some icons to the email to have some even more fun. So in this case, we'll just say howdy and a fountain, and it's pretty neat. So that's what the consumer and or subscriber will see, which was supposed to help make sure that they open it. So that's there. And then another snippet which will appear in the inbox after the subject line. This is another area where I take advantage of and I try to have fun. So a lot of times I'll say like, I'll do this. It's me, or I'll put the name of the business. For instance, I do Turtle Shacks a lot. So I'll say it is Turtle Shack. And this just helps them know that, hey, it's not spam. It's actually coming from someone I know, etc. So you can kind of follow my format. I have a lot of success with that. And sometimes, once again, you can add a little logo there, and it just helps. So that's going to be the subject line and the preview text. You hit save. And in this part, Diana, the sky's the limit. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with the design because this will help you through this, but you'll hit design email. And the cool thing about MailChimp is you can use like from scratch, which I don't suggest because I know you well enough that I think you need a little bit of an extra hand with the design and the layout. I would say don't use any of these because this is going to require a lot of customization. What I would suggest is themes. And now you'll notice they're already kind of laid out for you. So if you want, you look through here and you find one that you really like and you know that you can change the imagery and the text to fit your needs. This is a really neat tool. And let's just say we're going to use this one for whatever. And look at how many there are too. You have a ton of them. So have some fun depending on like what the subject is or what you're doing. But for the sake of conversation and the tutorial, we'll say we're going to use this one. And we click on it. Once we select it, now we can change anything we want and it's going to take it piece by piece. So now is the fun stuff. Depending on what you want to do with the email or the subject matter of what you're sending, you're going to use this tool from head to toe. So you'll see here, you can click on it, and in the right-hand area, it's going to say, do you want to replace it, edit it, link it to something, or do something else? I suggest just kind of keeping it simple and replacing it with what you want and or editing it. Now, in this case, this is an actual image. It's not, I don't think this is text. Let me see here. Yeah, so if you hit edit, it's going to require changing this to an image that you have. So this thing can turn into a monster, so I would say keep it simple. In this case, you could also change it to being just text, but the point is that you can select each area, hit this area, and on the right-hand side, you have all of your options to change this to. So you'll see the text, maybe to link it, make it bold, etc. And once you're done, you hit save and close, and you do the same thing to another area. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this particular layout because you may not even use this one, and it's just how it is. But most importantly, once it's done, all of this stuff stays as is. You don't have to edit any of this because it's going to pull and put in all the appropriate copyrights, etc. But once it's all done, you'll hit save and close. And now you'll notice it's really neat. It walked you through every process, to, from, subject, and you built the email. Now, the last thing you need to do, by the way, I always disregard all this. I don't share the campaign. I don't post it on social media. I immediately just go straight to, in the upper right-hand corner, send or schedule. So this is really, really neat. And or finish later, which is self-explanatory, meaning you can work on this at a later point if you're not done with it, and it will go right back to where you left off. But these last two things are the most important about the whole campaign. You can hit send, and it immediately is going to go to everyone that you have set, and or you can hit schedule. And schedule is really neat, and that's self-explanatory and just means you're done with the email, but you want it to go out tomorrow at noon or Friday at this time. It's really neat. You schedule it, and then instead of saying schedule, it will prompt, and then you'll hit save, and it will go out that specific time. There are other things that MailChimp can do. Diana, I'm not going to cover them in the video. There's just so much. But most importantly, once it's sent, there's this area called reports. And this is really, really neat. This will have all of the analytical data of who you sent it to, how many people opened it, and you'll be able to kind of critique and grow on making your campaigns that much more effective. But either way, I hope this was helpful. And if any questions or concerns, please let me know.